And so good morning, everybody. Welcome into the sanctuary. Here we are on this great good day, and it is a great good day, only because you and I are choosing that. That's exactly what it is. And so I'm loving these weeks as we go back to the basic fundamentals of our teaching, science of mind and the practice of the heart. And today we're looking at life, the great thing itself. And we speak of it as a thing with great reverence and awe because we know it cannot be named, because to name it would be too limited. And so we're calling it life, just life. We've looked at life itself, knowing that that is the creative and the most wonderful, awesome, infinite power and presence and force and originator of it all, that which creates everything and continues to create. That creation never ceases. So that's spirit. And then we looked at that, the way it works, and it works through its own wonderful law, as Reverend Louisa was pointing out. And we call that soul, or we call it the creative medium. Or we call it in orthodoxy, the Holy Spirit, the feminine aspect of God. And we've learned that the interaction between the two, the spirit and the soul, the Father and the Holy Spirit, if you want to call it that, creates an action, a movement that produces something, that causes something to come into form. And that is an experience, a demonstration. And we're looking at what all of that energy and so on, and movement and spirit and soul together, and what it does. So what life does is it expresses itself. That's what it does, simply. It's always an expression of itself. It's always expressing. It's always expressing. And the way it expresses is through consciousness. And consciousness uses thought in the human being to allow that expression to occur. And so we're going to be focusing very much today on thought and what that is and what that does. So you see, when you are totally aligned and enlightened and unified and one with the one, you're in pure conscious consciousness. And you've no use for thought anymore. You don't need thought anymore because you are conscious consciousness. And within conscious consciousness, there is no content. There is no content. There's just pure being. But worry not. Within that pure beingness, there's a sense of allness, wholeness, completeness, and fullness. So, what that expression does is work upon consciousness, and consciousness works upon thought. So what does that say to you and to me today? Well, it means that each one of us has the power, the freedom, and the choice, and mostly the privilege to choose whatever it is we're going to think. And out of choosing whatever it is we're going to think, we're going to create and express a life for ourselves. Through our thinking, coupled with our feeling, because thought and feeling go hand in hand. As my Scottish university professor used to say, our psychology professor would say, there can be no right thinking without right feeling, and there can be no right feeling without right thinking. So, they go hand in hand, thinking, feeling, thinking, feeling, thinking, feeling. And it doesn't matter which comes first. It's a chicken and egg thing. Do I feel it first? Do I think it first? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's one great big glob. But the thinking, feeling thing is a pulsation. It's an energy, and it's creating. It's expressing. And what it's expressing will depend upon what you're thinking and feeling. So on those lines, you and I better be very, very careful about what it is we're thinking. Because, and how many times are we going to hear it? How many times are we going to even remind ourselves of it? But how many times do we not apply the principle underneath it, behind it, and filled in it? There is nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. So, I cannot produce wonderful experiences, positive experiences, affirmative experiences, if I am thinking along the negative side of life. Negative thoughts cannot produce positive experiences. Dead thoughts cannot produce living experiences. Don't seek the living amongst the dead, we are told. Don't seek the living amongst the dead. Now, I cannot be talking about and affirming for prosperity if my thoughts are full of poverty consciousness. There's no way it's going to happen. I cannot heal myself of whatever ailment if all the time I'm thinking I'm ailing, I'm sick. There's no way it's going to happen. I can't be filled with joy and celebration and awe and wonder if all the time I am doomy and gloomy and pessimistic and sad and low of energy and low in heart and all the rest of it. There's no way it's going to happen. Now, what is it we're not getting about this, you see? What is it we're not getting about this? And what applies in my individual life, in my interior world, applies to all of life out there too. My vision of life at the moment as I look out into the world is what I'm adding to keeping, sustaining, and maintaining as what's happening in the world. So if I'm thinking, oh my God, the world is going to a hell in a handbasket, well, then I'm giving it every opportunity and helping it to go to hell in a handbasket. And there's no way it can't, if enough of us are thinking that way. If I am thinking, oh, my life is falling apart, and I keep thinking like that, I'm making sure that my life is going to show up in many experiences to prove that I'm right. Because how spirit works and what it does in and through its creative process, the law, the great creative medium, the great Holy Spirit of life, the movement of life upon a thought. What that does is it corresponds magnificently, perfectly, and beautifully to all that I'm thinking and feeling. Oh, she is thinking in terms of life and fullness and zest and vim and vigor and celebration and newness and wonder and forward movement. We will give her every opportunity to experience that. We will correspond to that. We will know her as she knows herself. We will mirror back to her what she's seeing in the mirror of her life perfectly. Because life, the law, can only know me as I know myself, and that's scary at times. As I know myself, life will know me. As I think about myself, life will think about me. As I feel about myself, that will show up through the great and wonderful generosity of the law. And the law is generous. It is our most humble and obedient servant. This is what you want. Of course you may have it. Here you are. Oodles of worrying and anxiety are yours for the asking, for the thinking, and for the feeling. Have at it. We are delighted to serve. You see. So it'll work either on the affirmative side of life or on the negative side of life. And today, of all days, could be the very day when you and I actually get this. Get it in a way that we start to work with it. Ernest Holmes, God bless the man, whose 130th birthday is today. Yay! Except he doesn't care what we're thinking. He's gone on, and he's way beyond all of us. And he always said, listen, when I go, I'm gone, I'm not coming back. And if anybody says that they've seen me, I've visited them, that I've shown up, they're lying, because I haven't. I'm not coming back. When I'm gone, I'm gone. I'm going on to bigger and greater and more expanded things. you see. But anyway, we honor him for what the legacy he has given us and the gift that he has given us, which was not original at all. And he'll be the first to tell you, I haven't got one original idea. This is all the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom of the ages. That's all it is, put together under one umbrella called the science of mind and the practice of the heart, the science of mind and spirit. So, how is it we're going to get it? Well, we're going to have to roll up our metaphysical sleeves now, and we're just jolly well going to know this. Since my life is the outward expression of my inward state, my life is the outward expression of my inward state, then I'm going to have a look at my inward state and see if there's any little adjustment needs to happen. See, again, Ernest Holmes says, we must fill our lives with that which is useful and that which is uplifting. We must release and let go of all of the morbidity and pessimism and let that go. He said, there are too many sad faces in the world, don't you add to them. That's what he said, his exact words. And so because that's the case and my inner state is ruling the roost of my life, I'm going to take a look at it and see what needs to be adjusted. I'm going to adopt the attitude now of the gardener. When the gardener goes forth in a good gardener, when the gardener goes forth into the garden, having chosen the most best and wonderful seeds she could find, having prepared the soil of the garden as best as she could, planted the seeds very, very carefully and joyously with the pictures of a wonderful and beautiful garden in harvest, and then tended to it lovingly and carefully and consistently and diligently and glad to do so. That's the way I'm going to treat my mind. Every seed thought I choose will be carefully chosen for its quality. And I will prepare the soil, the most fertile soil of all, the soil of my subconscious mind. And I will make sure that what's going on there is wholesome, ready to receive this beautiful seed and grow it into that gorgeous flower, that gorgeous tree, that gorgeous bush that I envisage. And then the way I'm carefully going to tend the garden of my mind is to keep monitoring it, tuning into it, see what's going on in the landscape of my mind, and then do a little weeding when necessary, when some of that, that invisible oxalis takes up residence. If anybody has had oxalis in their garden, they know it's very, very difficile to get rid of. It's really that kind of stuff. So that's what I do. I monitor my mind, and I do that carefully. And when I do that consistently, and when I do that faithfully, and when I really take that on because I know that my outer life is the result of my inner state, I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to give that importance in my life. I'm going to start practicing. I'm going to go to the laboratory of my mind and do some experiments. And I'm going to be consistent with that, and I'm going to show up for that, and I am going to give it a fair shot. So I'm not one of those people that says, well, you see, I tried it and it doesn't work. Well, if I tried it knowing that it doesn't work, I've proved the theory. I've proved the theory. As you think it, so it is. What you expect, you experience, you see. And so how then do I, having chosen the fine seed, how do I make sure that it makes it safely through into harvest? Well, what I have to do is to get very clear about this idea of mine. Very, very clear. And when I'm very, very clear about it, I need to see it and see it and see it. Vision it, vision it, vision it. I need to start seeing that picture to the point that I'm able to move into the picture and become one with the picture. See myself with that idea already realized. And then when I do that, I need to start thinking like it's already done, feeling like it's already done, acting like it's already done, and then one day I'll wake up and it will be done. That's how I do it. I have to support my idea. I must support my idea. And to illustrate that, there are some balloons over here. And here's a balloon here that has been fully supported. And it has come to its prowess here. There it is. This one is, well, we got halfway with this one. We supported it and we supported it. And then after a while, we said, oh, God, this is not going to happen. You see, it doesn't work. So it's half-baked, this one. Well, this poor fellow here got a start. But, you know, we very quickly lost patience with this one. And we said, oh, what makes me think I could do this? I've never been able to do this before. I've tried all these things before and they never came to anything. What really makes me think this is going to be it? So there, that's that. That's gone. And then we have this one here. See this here? This balloon has never known a breath in it. It has never known what air was in it. It's never known that it could be this purple balloon. It just thinks, oh, I'm a lovely color. This is very nice. I really like being this nice kind pink thing here. That's good. And then suddenly an inkling happens. There seems to be space inside of me. Maybe I could fill that with something. Okay. So I get the seed idea, and I start with the seed idea, and I go, oh my gosh, things are beginning to change. You know, there's a movement upon something. It's the breath of life going into it. So I begin to see, oh gosh, I can be something more than just this flat thing. I keep supporting that idea, keep supporting. And then, my goodness, the expansion that happens is amazing. The breadth and the height and the width begins to expand. Well, this is good. I'm enjoying this. I'll keep supporting this idea. Wow, my gosh, this stuff works. I think I'll keep doing it. Wow. Yeah, I'm beginning to really feel now that I'm one with this. I'm getting it, and it's good, it's good, it's good. This thing, I just feel it. It's so close to me. I'm just on the verge. I know I'm almost there. And then my endeavor becomes much more strong and much more deliberate and consistent as I get toward the end of my goal. And I think, oh, I'm almost there. I can smell the barn. And then when I get to this point, I get a little bit afraid. What if it blows up in my face? Oh, my God, what if it doesn't happen? What if I've gotten this far, well, nearly this far before, and then all of a sudden the whole thing went pow, puff. And sometimes you get a little back suck, you know, and then you go, oh, I've gone 10 steps backwards. And here it is, my beautiful, amazing demonstration, and I'm just at the winning post and I let it all go. Just when I was there, just when I was about to make it there, just when I had it in my hands, so to speak, I got cold feet, I got scared, I got afraid, and I backed away from my good. And there's not one person in this room that hasn't done that, perhaps more than once. And that's what we do with our creative process and the process of seeing it, visioning it, getting the clarity, and then supporting it. In spite of everybody hailing on your crop and raining on your parade and telling you how daft you are and get real and smell the coffee and what makes you think you can do this. My gosh, you haven't even managed to do that little thing over there, and you think you can do this thing over, and they're usually your nearest and dearest who do this to you, because you don't care much about anybody else. But you do care about your near and dear. That's why you keep very quiet about what it is you want to demonstrate until you're well on your way, and even then tell only those who really and truly care about you, who really and truly are your cheerleader and on your side, and are enough in themselves to know that your success is not going to cast a shadow on them at all. See, because very often we don't support each other because we're afraid you might get ahead of me, and if you do, you might leave me behind. And it's subtle. It's very subtle. So, to sum it all up, my dear ones, you have the power. All power is with you. And it's with you now, and it always was with you, and it always will be with you, but you are beautifully sovereign. You are the sovereign in your own life, and you get to choose how much of the good you wish to express and allow to express itself through you. This much or this much. And that choice that you will make all the difference, not only in your life, but in all life, because there's no such thing as a private and personal thought. All thought affects all thought and all life. And you and I are either adding to the beautiful positivity in life, affirmation in life, or we're adding to its negativity. We are either pouring nurturing and nourishing ingredients into the pot of life, or we're pouring toxins into it through the way we're thinking. And some of us, through our neutrality, flatlining as I call it, puts nothing into the pot, neither good nor bad. But then we're losing out that opportunity that you and I have to be empowered and to use that empowerment to forward life, advance life, uplift life, so that you and I can celebrate life. When we play the game of life and we enter into it every day of our lives, you can choose to enter into it any way you want. Are we going into it with zest, with vim, and with vigor? Are we going into it knowing my good is there for me and I'm supposed to have it? My good is on its way to me as I go out to meet it. My good is my good, and nothing and no one can deprive me of it except me. And I go forward in this day to meet my good and my unexpected good. And the unexpected good is so much fun. I'm always grateful for my good, whether it's expected or unexpected. And my dear ones, you are right now ripe and ready. Doesn't matter what your life circumstances are. Doesn't matter what's going on in your world, in your personal world. You're ripe and ready right now. If you need to have a turnaround, you are ready right now to turn around. What does that take? It just takes turning around. That's all. Get out of the molasses that keeps us stuck in the same old place with the same old thinking and the same old feeling and the same old experiences and the weight of all of that. And as we leave the weight upon us, we sink deeper into the molasses, you know? But you can jump out of the molasses and you can just turn around, because the power and the presence that is on your side, that supports you, that wants your good, is right where you are. And you can just open that portal and allow all of that to flow out and express itself through you. And it will, if you so desire it, if you want it, if you truly want it, and if you are willing to do what it takes. And all it takes is check your stinking thinking. That's all. And so it is.